6 weeks of Swiss play, 3 playoff weeks, and it all comes down to this week. The finals of the Tempered Sword bracket in the Go Mode podcast, Link to the Past Randomizer Mentor Tournament. Game 1 of those finals between Nephistoss, the 4 seed, and the Cinderella story of the playoffs, Thorneto, the 14 seed in the Tempered Sword bracket. My name is Tylersalt. I'm here with Fred, AKAderf. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Yeah, Thorneto beating a number 3 seed, number 6 seed, and a number 7 seed in a 3-game match coming down here. And I'm in the finals. This is going to be a great seed between them and number 4, Nephistoss.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. And we should be getting started here pretty soon. Both of our racers are ready. And really looking forward to this one. This is an Ambrosia match, as you can see. As a reminder, in case you need one, Ambrosia is a standard start. You get an assured sword at the uncle, at the uncle in the secret passage. The uncle, before he leaves, will spoil or give you a hint to where the boots are. And in each dungeon, the boss is guaranteed to have a non-dungeon item.
Yeah, and that's one of the most important things, is to remember as you're going through the dungeon how many items you're going to get in the front, and that there's always going to be one on the boss. So, there's a few dungeons where you don't have to necessarily go to every chest, but you can just avoid them and know that they're a map or a compass or a key and just go right back to the boss. And I believe we are going to be starting soon, so we will be anticipating that hint from the uncle about where the boots are, and here we go.
Oh, good. The light world. That could be anything. That could be as nice as, in Kakariko somewhere, or it could be Mimic, or it couldn't be Mimic Cave, or it could be somewhere just really awful and hard to find, like Magic Bat or something like that. But our racers are off, and we are headed into the escape sequence. A brief recap of how these two racers got here. Again, as I mentioned at the top, Nephistoss, the 4 seed in the Tempered Sword bracket, went 4-2 in Swiss play and made it to the finals here by defeating 13th seed Canard, 5 seed Lilifin, and 9 seed McMonkey. Thorneto, again, the 14 seed in the Tempered Sword bracket, the lowest seeded player in the Tempered Sword bracket, has made it now to the finals. So we see some bombs here for both of our runners. Great things to find here in Escape. Thorneto defeated 3 seed Vortex of Doom, 6 seed Lijo, and 7 seed Witty on his way to the finals. Will the Cinderella story continue?
Yeah, we have to stay tuned to find out. And this is also a best of 3 matchup. So the higher ranked seed, which is Nephistoss, picked this mode, and whoever loses is going to pick the next mode. A little bit back about that hint from the Light World. You mentioned it can't be Mimic Cave, which is in the Light World, but there is a separate hint for items that are on Light Death Mountain. So since Mimic Cave isn't on Death Mountain, we would have gotten the Death Mountain hint. So that Light World hint can be kind of tricky, because it could be also the pedestal.
Oh boy, yep.
Yeah, I've had that one before, so just don't want to forget about that. But it could be something simple like in Kakariko or something like that.
Yeah, for our runners' sake, let's hope they find those pretty early on. All kinds of money there in that first chest in Escape. Nice to find.
And we did get those bombs, so we're not going to be farming for bombs to get those 3 items in the back of Escape that are locked behind either bombs or boots.
So you can see the pretty synced. Nephistoss's feed looks like it's a little bit just around a second ahead of Thorneto's here. So important to keep that in mind right now. It will obviously matter less and less as we go here. Oh
Oh
no.
no! Oh no!
Ooh, that ball and chain guard. Not fun there, as Thorneto takes an unfortunate death in the escape sequence, off to a rough start for our underdog here. It's possible to come back, obviously, but we see F's in chat. That is absolutely important. That is he's dug himself a hole that he's going to need to work to get out of immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a couple minutes time loss. You get placed right at the beginning of the castle again. You have to go back and rescue Zelda, but it'll be interesting to watch Thorneto if they make a couple of gambles later in the seed, skipping checks that might help them make up that time.
Behind the scenes here, we've got Star 1468 pressing buttons and tracking for us. Thanks to Floyd for the restream as well.
Yeah, big shout outs to them for hopping on board today. Thank you very much.
Much cleaner fight there by Thorneto, second time around, as he gets back to where he was when he took that unfortunate death and is headed out, as Nephistoss making his way into the sewers.
Yeah, so as Nephistoss is coming out here, I guess they're going to be in the Dark Cross chest here. There's that key to help us get back farther into escape. And we'll be looking out for that bombable wall coming up in a couple of rooms to get 3 more items out of there.
Yeah, but it's nice that both of our runners ended up with plenty of bombs coming out here out of escape. You always hate when in a standard start, maybe like one of the runners gets lucky with the drop, the other gets unlucky, and then that can be a big thing headed out of escape in a standard seed. So it's nice that both of our runners are going to be able to get these 3 chests here. So we see the mushroom, the quake medallion, and the OK boomerang there. So 3 items, and I don't think we've seen the map yet. So the map might be in that sanctuary chest. We might have seen it. I might have looked away, but we'll see if either of our runners have been paying attention and try to skip the sanctuary chest if that is indeed the map.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing it either. So we'll see if they can remember that, or maybe do a quick menu check, which is I think a little faster than actually opening a chest.
And Nephistoss is going to go for it anyway. So not a big time loss. That's fine. It's more swag to be able to. Better safe than sorry. It's more swag to skip that chest anyway. So as Nephistoss is, of course, the first out of the escape sequence, he is headed over towards the Lost Woods. Does not appear to want to give us a lumberjack check. Here, a lot of times in Ambrosia, runners will skip that until they find the boots. I tend to go up there no matter what, just because I like having that information that I need to worry about it or not. But, valid strategy either way.
Yeah, also doesn't want to give us a map check yet. And we get our second sword. So once again, this was Ambrosia, so we started with a sword, and there's the, I guess, first upgrade, if you will, which is our second sword.
Yeah, and our runners are probably wondering at this point, as Nephistoss gets the shovel there. Nice time to get that. You'll be able to loop that in. With Ambrosia, you always worry about perhaps that increased likelihood of a required Aghanim 1 here, and that Master Sword is one of those requirements, only Lamp really, to make that Aga 1 play in Logic. So Thorneto lost about about a minute and a half there from that death. So not too bad, and we'll have to, make up that time again. It'd be interesting to see whether he decides to make some skips that maybe he wouldn't normally try to do.
Yeah, I would expect Thorneto to also skip the lumberjack, although I might be proven wrong right now.
No, he deked you out.
And we did get a hammer in the Blind's hut here.
Nice to find, absolutely. Great weapon to have early on. We also saw a bottle there in Blind's hut, so our runners will be able to knock out Lazy Kid while they are here and through this first trip into Kakariko Village, which you love to see. You love to be able to have plenty of money for Bottle Vendor and then a bottle for the Lazy Kid check here coming out of Kakariko, so you don't need to worry about any of those checks going forward.
Yeah, I love seeing that bottle right before you go into Kakariko, or even in Kakariko. It's such a pain to come back and get that bottle kid later on in the seed. So not much out of the well, a big heart container on the bottle vendor. Still looking for those boots in the light world. They could be hiding here in Kakariko.
Running out of spots for them to be, at least in Kakariko. There's Ether, so 2 medallions before 10 minutes. Oh, it's a medallion hunt always feels bad. Hey, there's a glove there from Lazy Kid.
All right, now we have 2/3 of our Dark World access. We just need that Moon Pearl that lets us stay as our character here in the Dark World instead of going to the bunny sprite.
Or whatever the bunny sprites are for Pikachu and Samus. That full body Samus is a new sprite released in either the last batch of sprites or the one just before that. Still pretty new there. I think that was just a piece of heart on the library ledge.
Yeah, and one thing here as Nephistoss checks the race game. Oh, it's flippers. We're going to go back for those.
Definitely.
They want to remember to check that shovel spot because we did get the shovel earlier, and that is another location that those boots could be, or just really any good item that's going to help us progress through the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And fetch quest items like this are a little bit more likely to have progression if you see them early, like this in Sphere 1, than they are if you find them a little bit later in the seed. So we'll see if Nephistoss heads over there right now, or even looks like he is. Not, you normally save and quit out of there, so he's going to go check that shovel right now. The only other option I would think is to try to, if you don't check it now, you're probably going to end up trying to put it off until you have Dark World access in the mirror, so you can kind of loop it in with the dig game K45 Stumpy hype cave checks. But this early on, not surprising to see Nephistoss running up there and checking it right away.
Yeah, especially with that boots hint somewhere in the light world. You know, a little bit of routing. Do you choose to sort of look at all of your light world areas before maybe going into a dungeon? Because those dungeons would have their own separate hints. So, you know, sometimes when I'm running Ambrosia, I'm really focused on getting those boots. And we'll see what high value locations these runners check out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a bit of a, I think maybe the most interesting question about Ambrosia and routing is, do you chase the boots, right? Especially if it's in dungeon, right? You know, are you going to go to that dungeon early, even if it's a pendant, right? Just because the boots are there. Also, shout outs to Hyphenated in chat, whose research and statistical analysis is, in fact, how I learned about the shovel stats there. So, big shout outs to Hyphenated for running those numbers. Here's our map check. Looked like 2 regular crystals at Eastern and Desert and a red 5/6 crystal up at Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. A lot of light world crystals tends to be sort of a quicker seed, but we'll see what the dark world has in store for us as well.
Pretty healthy seed so far. There's our lamp and the ice rod. So Aga 1 now in logic with that lamp. We probably won't see our runners now that they're a moon pearl away from Dark World access. I can't imagine that Aga Run is high on their minds, right? That would require that moon pearl to. Oh, there are the boots. They're on Lake Hylia Island.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we have the flippers. We're going to need dark access and the mirror to get to those. There's a way sort of to get there with a little bit of breaking the game, maybe a glitch or something, but those require the boots, so that's not really going to happen this season. But back to what you were saying about Aga, as we get a shield there on the hobo. Aga is definitely not going to be a priority because we need that moon pearl to get access, and there is a situation where it can be on the pyramid in the dark world, but not really much else.
Yeah, it's
we're hoping to find that light world.
Moon Pearl could be in Pyramid. It could be in Checkerboard Cave if we end up finding the Myths in the Mirror. And that would be the other thing that would require us to go do Aga 1. But considering that we have not seen Lumberjack yet, it remains to be seen whether we've got whether we're going to see Aga 1 here. And Nephistoss getting bailed out there with that 300 rupees in Waterfall Fairy can check off Zora as well while he's up here.
Yeah, it looked like they skipped the Ice Rod Cave, which there is a little hidden cave there to sort of farm some rupees, but they were quite a far way away. But getting that 300 drop in the Waterfall Fairy is great, because now you're going to be able to pay $500 to the big fish.
And Thorneto is not interested in going up to Zora. He's going to save and quit after checking the hobo. And so far, there's other than that money, a whole lot of nothing up here. We'll see what the big fish has.
Yeah, I'd have to think Thorneto is hoping to get 500 rupees.
Oh,
somewhere.
no. Oh, no.
But there is the Moon Pearl on Zora.
Brutal. So Nephistoss pressing that lead and getting that Moon Pearl off of Zora. Thorneto is going to have to make his way back up here, back up there before too long. But we shall. So Aga on life support at this point as we have full Dark World access.
Yeah, with the hammer and gloves and Moon Pearl now, we can get into most of those portals, at least the ones you kind of go to in the main part of the map. And we've got flippers and hammer to move around other parts of the Dark World that you need access to. Nephistoss, knowing they don't have to defeat Aga to get into the Dark World, is going to check and see if they need to defeat Aga for progression.
Nope. So Aga is dead. Long live Aga.
Yeah, that was a blue boomerang. I don't know many runners that would beat Aga just for that.
I don't know any. That would be a bad choice, I think. Thorneto is...
For sure.
Thorneto... Oh, interesting. Thorneto headed up towards... to turn in that mushroom and perhaps is going to head into Zora that-a-way. Which is a nice way to do that, right? If you're gonna save and quit, you maybe don't have the money there. If he keeps going, this might work out for him.
Yeah, so we turn in that mushroom. We got to go off screen and then come back, and there will be a little gift waiting for you in the magic shop.
Oh, and there's a tempered sword for Nephistoss at the old man. Love to see that this early. Oh no, and Thorneto is saving and quitting from the potion shop, not heading over towards towards Zora. We'll see where he's headed next.
It's probably going to be over in the desert area. There's a 50 rupee place that you can kind of farm for rupees there. Probably going to hit that on their way to the old.
Oh, and there's the
cave.
mirror.
Wow. I would have to think Thorneto, because they have the gloves as well, and the lamp is going to make their way up there. But I would think the mountain would be higher priority than Zora for them at this point. And they didn't finish out the dam here, so they're going to get that on, and then probably go on their way to desert.
So there's the mirror for a Nephistoss. He's going to try that bomb jump because now with that mirror, all of Light Death Mountain is open. Doesn't quite get the bomb jump.
Yeah, without that mirror, they wouldn't have been able to get up to Tower of Hera, which is one of our red crystals. But now they will be able to fully complete that. They have access to it. They have a fire source, and they can keep on their merry way up here. And after that, continue on to the right side of the mountain.
And you called it. Thorneto is farming some rupees here. He's going to open up that chest in Waterfall Ferry and feel real bad about finding that 300 rupees there after spending some time farming. But at least he is now thinking, Zora, that he's going to head up there, which is, of course, the play that he needs to make that Moon Pearl being on King Zora himself.
And also, when Nephistoss found that mirror, we now know we can actually get to those boots over on Hylia Island now. Probably a better play to continue on here on the mountain and make all these checks. Yeah, the boots would make them faster, but I think they lose the time by actually spending time to get the boots before.
I agree. And so what I would imagine, like, I'm typically the sort of person who will always start Dark World stuff up by Kakariko Village if I have the equipment for it. But with those boots on Lake Hylia Island, I would expect that I would expect that Nephistoss, once he's done with the mountain, will save and quit back to Link's house, grab those boots, and then proceed on to Dark World checks.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And we got the big key in the basement here in Tower of Hera, so we don't have to go into the basement and do anything unless there happens to be an item there. But we know there's not, because this is Ambrosia and there's going to be an item on the boss. We also got the bug catching net down on the first floor.
Oof.
Oh, a death there. And Thorneto did not find anything in the cave in the desert. I think it was 10 arrows. So a little death there. I think both of our runners now have taken a little untimely death, so maybe evening out the timing here just a little bit. Looks like Thorneto is going to make their way up there, which is great, because they're going to get their Moon Pearl and feel maybe a little behind, but also, they knew there was a lot of checks that Nephistoss could have made, and, maybe they dipped into Hera, Eastern. There's a lot of sort of scenarios running through each other's minds right now.
Nephistoss getting bullied by those mini Moldorms yet again, but makes it through.
Yeah, and just walking by those chests because they remembered it's Ambrosia and there's an item on the boss.
Two spins on Moldorm. Down he goes for crystal number 1 for Nephistoss and a piece of heart at the 2230 mark in this seed. Nephistoss on the board.
So we'll see if they continue to go over to the right side of Death Mountain. There's a possibility they could maybe wait to do that until they get Titansmiths, because they have the mirror and they could combine all the Dark World Death Mountain checks in, but we'll see what they want to do. I mean, you're up here. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, like there are 9 checks over here. Or I guess eight checks and a peak over there. As we see a pendant, swamp, green pendant, turtle rock pendant, thieves town, and that other 5/6 crystal on Misery Mire.
Okay, Thorneto is checking out Hype Cave, hoping to find that mirror. We know they're not going to find the mirror, but they might find some other good stuff.
There's a bow. Almost said bow. That's good. So I might imagine, nope, he's saving and quitting. But I was going to say, like, maybe that would lead to a run over into the Pod Eastern area. Both of those dungeons with that bow are full clearable. Maybe that's where Thorneto is headed now. We'll be able to pick up 2 crystals over there.
Yeah, I guess they're deciding to go and do the Light World version first, which is Eastern Palace, and then use the portal and go into the Dark World of Palace of Darkness. Both of them are fully completable. We have the lamp, we have the hammer, and now we just got the bow and arrows.
And Diesel Martini pointing out in chat something that I missed, that the floating island up on Death Mountain has the fire rod, apparently. I did not see that.
Oh yeah, I missed that too. Thank you, chat, for bringing that up. Thank you, Diesel.
Paradox Cave, a big old bust. Nephistoss is out. I'll run over and find those boots.
Yeah, that feels bad when you didn't really get anything, but as you were saying, it was 8 checks.
Not going directly to those boots checks. I don't agree with this. Like, I don't necessarily like is he going to check the mushroom spot here? I don't agree with this at all. This is I think a very weird choice by Nephistoss.
Yeah, I guess they're gonna do the mushroom, and then this portal on this screen that they're on, it takes them over by Link's house, which is by that Dark World access. But you know, you can check this potion shop on the way later to get catfish or something, because you do have the mirror. Or maybe they're just gonna do it, and if it's nothing, they're gonna sort of save scum.
Oh, that's a possibility. Yeah, good call.
So I think it was nothing, so we'll see a hard reset here.
No, it picks it up. Yeah, that's a weird play to my mind. If you're not going to save scum the mushroom, when you know where the boots are and a whole mess checks there after that, but I suppose not a big time loss, and it's something that Thorneto did anyway, but in a little bit more of an efficient manner.
Yeah, I mean, it could have also been like an accidental menu press down or something in the selection screen, but
also possible.
And then just decided to run with it. We got the blue cane in Thorneto's side. That was also one thing. We didn't really have a cape or a cane, so I don't think it was in logic, but that spike cave on the mountain was acceptable when Neph was up there, because they did have the hammer and, of course, the moon pearl. Oh, we got our second item here, Bombos in Eastern Palace. So we have all of our medallions now.
Yep, no need to worry about that. Always nice when you can skip the vanilla big key chest in Eastern Palace. Yeah, and hyphenated in chat, bringing up a good point. Like, how long is it going to be before Thorneto goes up the mountain? You know, might end up waiting until we find the hook shot somewhere to do that. As Nephistoss takes a Dark World Overworld death, loses a little time there.
Yeah, Thorneto does have a lot of options. I would imagine if they get the Titan's Mitts that let you lift the Dark Rocks, they're going to prioritize the mountain over some other stuff.
I mean, I don't know.
They're going to be looking for that mirror.
Without the mirror or the hook shot, though, Titan's Mitts doesn't do a whole lot for you over there.
That is a good point.
You know, so like you'd need. I feel like in order to really think about going up there, kind of a galaxy play for Nephistoss to do that, because you go up there without the mirror or without the hook shot, you get 2 checks and that's it. So not a particularly enticing choice up there, but unfortunately for Thorneto, it's the right choice with that mirror up there in Spectacle Rock. As Nephistoss is about to get his boots.
Yeah, I think Neff also had Dark World access when they went up that mountain, so they were just choosing to go up there. Now they have their boots. They were probably just going up there to get the save and quit point, so they wouldn't have to do it later, but it ended up being great for them, getting the mirror.
Yeah, early mountain is pretty, like, just going up for their 2 checks. It's pretty quick. You get that save and quit spot after rescuing the old man, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time. Certainly, but it's only 2 checks when you have full Dark World access, haven't been anywhere yet, so it could be a little bit difficult as Nephistoss is headed over towards Palace of Darkness. Oh no, excuse me, fake me out there.
Yeah, and Thorneto beat Eastern and then did not use the portal by pod. I wonder if they're going to use this one and maybe loop in the pyramid, or just by habit saved and quit or something like that. I think it would be faster to walk down to the 5 spot.
I think at any rate, it's pretty close, as we see Nephistoss picking up half magic over here on the pyramid. As both of our runners are headed into Palace of Darkness here, coming up on the 30-minute mark in this seed. Nephistoss definitely has a bit of a lead here. It's tied at 1 crystal apiece, but that mirror got Nephistoss the boots. And we don't know when Thorneto is going to make his way up the mountain to get that mirror. So that's going to be a lot, potentially a lot of time for Nephistoss to have a boots advantage over Thorneto. And the longer you have that advantage, the bigger the advantage is. Just more time with the boots means you're moving faster through more of the game. That's good.
Yeah, that will add up the time that they save throughout from dashing and all that other stuff. And also, as they're both going into Palace of Darkness, it's a lot easier to route Palace of Darkness with a mirror. There's a lot of sort of dead ends that you just kind of go back to the beginning, and it's faster to do that. Whereas Thorneto's going to have to sort of death warp to get there, or be a little bit creative with their routing.
Yeah, so Nephistoss is going to have an easier time here in Palace of Darkness for sure. There's the hook shot, though. That is good news for Thorneto. That hopefully will push him up towards the mountain here as we go.
Yeah, that is going to be good for them. We hope, because we know where that mirror is, we hope that that's going to push them up there next. I guess they also would logically have access to Tower of Hera because they have the hookshot and the hammer, so they're going to sort of get that mirror as a byproduct of knowing that they can fully complete that dungeon.
Absolutely.
And the hookshot was one of our up to 2 non-key items in the front here. I think Thorneto skipped this vanilla big key chest that Neff is about to check. And that's the other non-key item. So there's always at least 4 small keys in the front. Sometimes, they're bow locked, but that's not a problem for our runners today as they have the bow. There can also be 5 or 6 keys, but it looks like we're going to find our expected value of 4 today.
It's like Thorneto is going to check that now.
Yeah, they are thinking it could still possibly be the big key, and they definitely don't want to go out into the area that has the big chest and leave that chest behind. So they're going around, not checking it or forgetting where the drop down is here.
Yeah, so this is the thing where, you know, having that mirror, like even if you don't have the mirror, I think the best way to, if you've got the keys to do it, and there was a key in the bridge chest, so he could have done it this way, right? Would be to check shooter room, the bridge chest, the vanilla big key chest, then back down into the Stalfos basement, where you can use that warp over towards the bow-locked side. Those boots allowing the boots of the mirror allowing Nephistoss again to now at this point pass Thorneto in this dungeon, despite Thorneto having a pretty sizable time advantage headed in.
Yeah, if that vanilla big key chest is a small key, you do end up saving time. So that's probably one of the areas where Thorneto was gambling based on losing some time in escape sequence. And we find the Titan's Mitts here, which is another thing that will probably draw Thorneto to the mountain. But, you know, there's also a lot of other dungeons that kind of open up because of that.
Yeah, that's actually also really good for Thorneto, because now Thorneto can clear all of Death Mountain, except for Turtle Rock, obviously, in one fell swoop there. Still minus the cane. But we'll save a little bit of time on the mountain now that Nephistoss had committed to a double dip.
Yeah, with those Titan's Mitts, Ice Palace is open. That's fully beatable with the hammer, and we don't have the fire rod, but we do have the Bombos. And the only dungeon we can't get into now is Desert Palace and Misery Mire. If we find the flute, we can get into those, and of course the red cane lets us beat Misery Mire. So we're only 2 items away from go mode right now.
At just 35 minutes in.
And one runner knows where the fire rod is. So when they get that, they'll be able to beat Skullwoods.
Yeah, and that fire rod is in logic. And hey, if they find the red cane up there in Dark Death Mountain, perhaps, then Turtle Rock's beatable too if they wanted to go in there. It's the green pendant. I imagine that our racers are not going to want to go in there if they don't have to, but it is available.
So this is going to be a very interesting race now, because as I just said, we need 3 items for go mode. We know where one of them is, and there's so much of the world open. You know, who's going to make the more efficient checks, or who's going to make the one where that ends up leading them right to those items that they need.
Yeah, because so far, you know, Nephistoss has had a bit of an advantage here thanks to that early mountain play. But this pod has, I think, brought Thorneto right back into this race. Being able to make a single trip up the mountain saves a nice little bit of time.
Yeah, and they're 2 or 3 rooms apart here. Thorneto's already done Eastern Palace, so Nef's going to have to finish that. But Nef has done Tower of Hera, so they are pretty close in terms of dungeons completed and all that.
Yeah, Tower of Hera is an extraordinarily quick dungeon in the setup. And actually, Thorneto's going to be able to make up some time on Nephistoss as well. Nephistoss struggled a little bit, and when Thorneto goes up there, Thorneto's going to have the hook shot, and so we'll be able to Hera pot and save a decent chunk of time over Nef's time in Hera as well.
Yeah, and because of some of the item layout, I don't think they're going to be able to go mode it, but even so, we know where one of the first item is, and if they do know that Hera pot clip, it's going to be.
Now that's a full go mode, right?
Yeah.
That's like because you go down, you get the big key from the basement cage, you open the next chest, that's the net. You know the other items on the boss because it's Ambrosia, and so you Hera pot up there and you go.
Yeah, that's about as quick as you can do that dungeon.
Yep. Nephistoss with a nice takedown of Helmasaur King for crystal number 2. Thorneto is right there.
And Thorneto getting 17 whacks to the head here. They are still on Master Sword because Nef got that Tempered Sword up on Death Mountain, but we should be able to take this down. You can do 8 swipes here or put some arrows in. There we go.
Nice fight on Helma for both of our runners there, now tied up at 2 crystals apiece.
All right, so here's a big decision point. Where does Thorneto go? They have got 2 crystals they can beat, and just where do they go? I would have to imagine the mountain, because of all the checks around Tower of Hera, is going to be a little bit enticing for them.
Yeah, I think that's to my mind, that's the clear choice. I don't know if I'm, a little biased on that because I know what's up there. He's saving quitting the Sanctuary. We'll be able to tell here momentarily which way he's going.
Yeah, and the other crystal we were talking about was Ice Palace, and so there's only 3 checks there, and they don't have one of the items that would make that dungeon a little faster. There's a clip you can do using the red cane, and they haven't found that yet, so I think this is the play. They're going to check Lumberjack just because they're here and go up the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is definitely the play that Thorneto needs to make. Doesn't even care about Lumberjack. Heads straight to the Old Man Cave. Yeah, and Irritable Penguin in chat bringing up now, like, once Thorneto is done with the mountain, Ice Palace becomes a pretty obvious next choice. You get to go down and get the boots once you have the mirror there, and then even, Icebreaker aside, if it's still, Ice Palace is still full clearable crystal dungeon. So, like, maybe you put that off, but it got to be a pretty enticing choice there, even without the cane.
Yeah, after they get all the items that we know about up on the mountain, the next choice would sort of be Village of Outcasts that has a Thieves Town in it, but that is a pendant dungeon, so hoping not to go in there at all. And F is here on Armos, trying to do a quick kill with 18 arrows if you place them just in the right spot.
Very clean, nicely done.
Excellent.
Now, Thorneto decided to head over here towards Hookshot Cave, or towards Paradox Cave and the rest of Eastern Death Mountain before heading up and checking Spectacle Rock. It's not the way that I usually do it, because I like to go up and check Spectacle Rock, even if I don't have the mirror, and then just hop down to avoid a lot of the annoying parts about the Waffle House drive-thru and those dead rocks over there. So I always go up and do that first. So I think that, unfortunately, that's going to make Thorneto's routing through here a little bit tougher, because I could totally see Thorneto first going and beating Tower of Hera, and then potentially even going into the Dark World before even checking inside Spectacle Rock, which would be really unfortunate.
Yeah, remember, they don't have the mirror, so they don't know that they would be able to route this more efficiently. And so, they're definitely going to go up and beat Tower of Hera. And yeah, I would imagine they would go down and do Spiral Cave even before popping into Spectacle Rock at this point, as they get the fire rod information up there on the island.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that routing is not really going to work out for Thorneto here. But the important thing is that he is up here and is going to hopefully get all the stuff that he needs to get in here. As Nephistoss is our first player showing us the Super Bunny Cave. There's a book over in Super Bunny Cave.
All right, well, you're up here. The book, you can check that tablet over there on the far left side of Death Mountain, and it also gives us access now to Desert Palace, the Vanilla Way, over in the Light World, which is Crystal.
Thorneto with a death heal there.
Yeah, good job knowing they were short on hearts and going to be able to get some more of those back by dying in a dungeon and being placed right at the front of the dungeon.
There's a cape in Hookshot Cave. Thorneto is not going to do Harapot, which is really interesting.
Yeah, they don't have the boots, so if
Oh
they
yeah,
only know the
a little
boots
tougher without the boots.
setup,
Yeah.
there is a bomb and hookshot setup that is also a thing. They just might not know that one.
Yeah,
But
definitely the
hopefully.
boots. The boots definitely make that check a little bit nicer, but it is still pretty straightforward, even without. But you know, like I hadn't practiced it until recently, so no shade for not having practiced that. But it is a little unfortunate, a little bit of a missed opportunity for some time save there for Thorneto.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty simple setup. It's double pixel perfect. So, and then because of the bomb, it's sort of on a running clock there. But, you know, if you've got some time, you want to learn it, check out some resources. And I think on the Discord, through the Gomod Podcast Discord, they have a lot of people always willing to share new tips and tricks and things like that. So feel free to check that out. Neff did check the tablet over here, and we got a big heart container, and now they're going to do Spike Cave. We got that cape, which is logically opening up this check, although with some of the bottles and potions, I think they could have gotten here.
Well, we had Cane of Berna out of
Oh, right.
or out of Eastern as well.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, good. Thorneto jumping down to do Spectacle Rock here before heading back over. Maybe Thorneto just forgot about this check, and in which case he's going to get bailed out by the mirror being here a little bit, and so we'll be able to do these checks largely as efficiently as he could.
Yeah, they're probably going to beeline over there and get that fire rod, which is going to open up, as we talked about earlier, Skull Woods. The back of the dungeon requires a fire rod to get in, and it is a crystal.
Yep, and Nephistoss headed straight over towards Ice Palace here with the fire rod and everything like that. So we're going to see that from Nephistoss as well. Fans of the Ice Palace bomb jump, get hyped because we're probably going to see it here.
Yeah, barring getting the red cane in the first chest, we're almost definitely going to be seeing an Ice Palace bomb jump.
That has happened to me several times, though. Of course, the flip side of that is getting Cane in the vanilla big key chest in the icebreaker room. That always feels real bad. Oh, this is interesting. Thorneto did not go over towards Dark Death Mountain. Decided to bail and is not going to get that fire rod right away.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, there wasn't really anything else there where there was the cape, but nothing else. Oh, I'm sorry, they did get the book. Neff got that book, so they are going to be missing that. Maybe just prioritizing a dungeon over more overworld, or, I can get these boots and do a dungeon maybe.
I guess, but like the boots don't really make those Death Mountain checks any faster. So, and with Turtle Rock a pendant, like... I don't know. I would not have done this. I'm not sure what. And looks like he was just getting the boots there, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah, maybe marking that fire rod and thinking they've gotten it or something. But I mean, obviously, Ice Palace is a lot faster with the fire rod as opposed to the cutscene you kind of go through with the Bombos medallion. So prioritizing that before they carry on here. And I would like to point out, neither runner checked Ice Rod Cave, I believe, which is sort of in this neck of the woods that Neff is in right now. So we'll see if they hit that up on their way out.
Neff having a little bit of trouble with these Salthos Knights.
But the anticipation is real. We're going to get an IPBJ right now.
Heck yeah. Only 4 bombs for Nephistoss because that room went a little bit sideways.
So this is another pixel perfect. You got to place the bomb and then move to a different area and sort of get hit by the bomb over this pit, but
and avoid the fire bar as well.
Yeah, it's a little tricky as
that
they
one was
missed
too
their
low.
First one, and
they're
going to take damage from the bomb and the fall if you do fall. So I think it would be 2 total because they're on green mail still. But they get it second time. Great, they got a potion. Fill back up.
All right, nicely done there. That could have been a disaster a death there, running out of bombs, only on a couple hearts. But Nephistoss avoids that sad outcome there. No, nice 8 bomb drop there from the Pen Gator as well.
And Thorneto is getting their book and the cape, and I'm assuming going to get the fire rod right now, which is going to be good for them. So assuming Thorneto goes to Ice Palace next, they're a little bit behind Neff, but they're pretty much checked the same things at this point.
Yeah, Thorneto has done a good job fighting back from not only from an unfortunate death in Escape, but you know, some choices that didn't go quite as well as he would have hoped here in the early game. And this race is honestly pretty close. Nephistoss is about a Spike Cave and maybe half of Ice Palace ahead at this point.
Yeah, and I'd have to imagine, because they're going down this spiral cave now, they're going to skip the Spike Cave chest.
And the Ether Tablet check as well.
Yeah. So we know that that's not necessary for them to do. They obviously do not. It's a blind run here. They're competing on their own without seeing the opponent.
You wonder if that's a decision born out of that death and escape that we saw right off the top from Thorneto. You know, knowing that he took a minute and a half of time loss right off the top, and as a result has decided to go about this a little bit differently and make some of those skips, those gambles that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's got to be weighing on their mind almost with everything they're doing. As they're going to do some of the boots checks here. We got Bach Rock, so here's some new checks for us.
Looked like there was a little bit of indecision. Thorneto maybe was headed up towards a... and there's the Red Cane, so nice find for Thorneto. They're putting off Ice Palace.
Yeah, if they do know the Icebreaker glitch, that's going to help a lot. So if you're watching carefully, you'll be able to see the two different ways to navigate this dungeon, and that is one of our items we need for go mode. So Thorneto's only one item away now. They just need a flute.
Nephistoss, pretty nice cold stare fight there. Gets that final item out of Ice Palace, a big 20, and that is crystal number 4 for Neff. Yeah, and Floyd pointing out Icebreaker is good. Both items are on the Icebreaker side, so Thorneto will have a significantly faster Ice Palace than Nephistoss did. Yeah,
so Neff has the lead in crystals right now, obviously, but if Thorneto finds the items, if Neff kind of puts off, we know Bonk Rocks is one of those places they need to go. Thorneto might be able to full go mode some of these.
Yeah, but here's Bonk Rocks right now.
Yeah, this is a pretty good check because you don't have the flute to flute over to the Dark Kakariko area, and there. So this is a good check on your way out, and they're going to get their little slashes for frustration.
Yep. Always appreciate those little opportunities for a runner to tell us just exactly how they feel about what they just found.
I mean, they could have checked it earlier, but they went, they got Hype Cave, and that gave them a bow, which led them to Eastern and Pod. I don't think those were bad plays at all. So I think just knowing they had beaten Ice Palace before checking it was kind of a little frustrating.
Yeah, it's a sucky feeling, but also on the one hand, yeah, that's never fun finding it right there. But on the other hand, prioritizing a full clearable crystal dungeon is always good. So Nephistoss is about an Ice Palace behind here. Interestingly, choosing to head into the front of Skullwoods rather than going straight to the back like Thorneto has done. Thorneto's got to be careful, down to just a heart and a half here. Oh, he's got a blue potion. There we go. If you've got you get the fire rod, you've got the cane. You know, it does get bailed out there by an early-ish item in the front, but in Ambrosia, very rare, I feel like, to see a runner start with the front of a Skull Woods. Usually you see people just rush the back as quickly as they can, but is going to probably get bailed out by there, as we'll probably see Thorneto head into the front as well after killing Mothula.
Yeah, there's, you know, that second item could be anywhere. Oh, that's a great fight there by Thorneto, getting Mothula down. There's, as I was saying, there's one item outside of the boss in Ambrosia here in Skull Woods, and you know, it could be here in the back, it could be in that vanilla big key chest, and I think maybe they're just checking that first one in case it was there and got a key. And yeah, it kind of did get bailed out by having it there. They're going to save some time in this dungeon, assuming Thorneto continues on looking at all the chests in their way.
Yeah, and Thorneto is going back in for this bridge chest. But yeah, you should always, if you got the fire rod, always do Skull Woods back in front, whether it's Ambrosia or not, as Hyphenated is saying. It's just more efficient. It's easier, you know, and it's an even better play in Ambrosia than it is otherwise. Very nice fight there by Nephistoss.
Yeah, and taking back that crystal lead that they had momentarily lost. Here comes a ped check.
Get hype, chat. It's 3 bombs. Hype over.
It could have been something, as all of our pendant dungeons are available. So really now we have Desert Palace, which is a crystal that both runners can go into and beat. And we have our 3 pendant dungeons, one of them obviously being a green pendant. You can turn that in for another item, and there's really a bunch of overworld checks. So where is that flute?
That is what we are looking for. We're flute away from go mode. Laser bridge, obviously where it's going to be.
It's been there before. It can be there again. We'll have to see. Thorneto doing a unusual route I've never really seen as this as an exit. I know this drops you in. I think they got a little lost here. That's going to drop you.
I think that's
dungeon.
I think that is not a route. That is an oops. I think from Thorneto. Oh, I see what Thorneto did. I've done that before, right? Where you mirror out of the vanilla big key chest room, coming from the other direction, and then just hold out the door, and then you're not where you expect it to be. That's exactly what that is happening.
I've done that too. And we see Neff is going to be the first runner to go into Desert Palace. There's 2 items here, including one on the boss. First item is a key. It's going to lead them right to the side that has a small key door. Lining up the big
Thorneto
key.
saving and quitting instead of mirroring out and headed over towards Kakariko Village, and the Village of Outcasts, rather. He's out.
Yeah, neither of them checked. Was that the bumper cave they checked? Neither of them went into Village of Outcasts area. Or
yeah, we didn't even. I don't think we didn't even see bumper cave. Thorneto headed right over desert.
Yeah, Neff had done that too. So we got the silver arrows on the right side of desert, so we don't need to check any more of the chests. We got the big key. We can go back to the boss. And Thorneto going there as well. But remember, so they're going to be a little bit behind here in this dungeon, as well as not having completed Ice Palace yet. And just looking at my map, that flute can literally be anywhere except the 4 locations that it unlocks, which is 2 in Misery Mire and the Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave. So
yeah, so 5 locations.
It can be anywhere.
So Nephistoss with a small but solid lead here. He's now about a dungeon and a half ahead. I know this is not what we're talking about here, but I will never look at this Desert Torches room the same after Kern's blindfolded run and him thinking that he was firing arrows at the Igor, but instead unloaded like 17 arrows into one of the pots. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I happened to catch a bit of that. That was amazing that he was able to complete that.
Ridiculous.
That was so much fun to tune in for every once in a while.
But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the seed here as Nephistoss gets 3 bombs off of Landmolus. So we'll see what is next. There are 3 big, dense item locations left. You've got Village of Outcast and Thieves Town and the Smith Chain over there. At the beginning of the Smith Chain, you got Swamp Palace, which is a pendant, but it's full clearable. And you got Turtle Rock. What are we going to see?
Yeah, so that flute is not just conveniently on our way through any of these dungeons or anywhere close. We're going to have to make some gambles. They're obviously going to check this desert cave, which is 10 arrows, but where are they going to go next?
To me, if it's me, I think it is Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town.
Yeah, there's a lot
there
right away.
The 3 overworld checks. You got 4 items in Thieves Town, 3 that are going to be more or less easily accessible, right? And 1 on blind. Then you got the Smith Chain with the mirror, which loops you back down towards Swamp as well.
Yeah, that's probably where I would start. It's a lot easier to go from the Village of Outcast towards Swamp than it is the other way. Less backtracking, if you will. Looks like they are maybe checking Swamp first.
I think this is Bombo's tablet, but we'll see whether this goes into Swamp Palace. Chat pointing out that neither of our runners went over towards Ice Rod Cave. So if that flute's over there, that'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, that'd be almost a mean place to put it, because if you don't check it early, you kind of wait for the flute to ever go back there.
Thorneto having a little bit of trouble landing those silver shots. There's number 2. Just misses.
All right, looks like Neff is going to go into Swamp as Thorneto.
No, he's turning north. This is he's going up to Village of Outcast the other way.
And imagine Thorneto's going to go right for Ice Palace here without any detour at all. Maybe do Ice Rod Cave on their way, unless they want to check it right after.
Yeah, or on the way back, yeah. As we passed the 1 hour mark, once again, thank you for joining us here on Go Mode Podcast on Twitch. This is game 1 of the Mentor Tournament Tempered Sword Bracket Finals between Nephistoss on the left side of your screen, the 4 seed in the Tempered Sword Bracket, versus Cinderella Story Thorneto, the 14 seed, the final seed, lowest seeded player in the Tempered Sword Bracket. But we're down to the finals between these 2 racers. And we've had a pretty fun match here. We're now looking just for the flute for a Go Mode. Nephistoss has just a smallish lead of about an Ice Palace and a couple overworld checks over Thorneto here.
Yeah, and this is the Mentor Tournament. Early in the Swiss rounds, and then for the first couple rounds of the brackets, these runners were paired up with a mentor on a voice call, but right now they are on their own. and no mentor, so they have to take everything they learned and all the stuff they've been practicing and apply it here in this race. Nothing in the brewery. We've got Jeremiah the Bullfrog in tow, so we'd have to send him back home to the smith in the light world before we can go into a dungeon.
And now we're going to see Thorneto making up significant time here in Ice Palace compared to Nephistoss. Thorneto went to Bonkrocks, found that Cane of Samaria before coming down here, and Nephistoss did it, unfortunately, immediately following. And so Thorneto is going to be able to pick up quite a bit of time here in this dungeon with the Icebreaker glitch that you are about to see.
Yeah, it's another one. If you just spend some time on it, it looks really hard at first, but then after you kind of learn how it's done, it sort of clicks in your brain, and maybe you can give it a try in a practice race or in a race, and there Thorneto goes right through the wall.
Nicely done there. With the select buffer, I like to see that. I am too much of a wuss to select buffer because I feel like I'm going to accidentally save and quit.
You and I are the same. So nothing showing up on, the swamp to Kakariko route here on Neff's side. I would imagine they're going to dip into Thieves Town at this point.
Yeah, at the very least, the front four in Thieves Town. Now, interestingly, neither of our runners, and they could have, they both checked Bonkrocks and then went straight to Skull Woods. Neither of them went over to King's Tomb, and neither of them did Graveyard Ledge, both of which were in Logic as they were going. So, we'll see. Maybe Nephistoss will head over there. They're a little bit out of the way, but they were right there and available when they both save and quit to Sanctuary to do Bonkrocks head into Skull Woods. So interesting choice there. We'll see if either of them makes their way back.
Yeah, that could have been part of their reason for routing south to north, if you will, or south to northwest. And we get Thorneto here trying to take down. They've run out of magic, but they can still get the Coldster out here. Great job.
Very nice
so
fight.
They have tied up the crystal count now. And our runners have done a very good job of staying in Logic. It's not necessarily required when you're running, but they happen to get the lamp so that they didn't have to do any dark rooms. They got the flippers so that Moon Pearl on Zora was not out of Logic. They haven't really done any sequence breaks outside of just clipping through walls or something like that in a dungeon.
Yeah, been pretty straightforward. Nephistoss is headed back into the back of Thieves Town here to find the 3 items that are going to get back there. There was a pretty empty front. The only item they found up there was 3 bombs. Both of them leaving Ice Rod Cave behind as well.
So Thorneto's taking this portal. We'll have to see if they do those checks you mentioned. The Graveyard Ledge, which requires you mirroring from the Dark World, or the King's Tomb, which you can access from the Dark World or the Light World. Looks like they're going to be going into the town here and doing some of these checks we've already seen. And we know there's going to be an item on blind here, which is the boss in this dungeon. So even if we find 3, we're probably going to be beating the boss at this point.
Yeah, you may as well at this point, unless the next item here is the flute. We're going to see a full clear of Thieves Town. All right, not the flute there in the Maiden's chest. We are going to check out the Thieves Town big chest over here. Thorneto is running up to check Bumper Cave before going into Thieves Town. Just 50 rupees up there, though. And Thorneto is following my advice and is headed over here to check a Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb before heading into Thieves Town. We'll see if this pays off. And because if it does, then Nephistoss has, or then Thorneto, if this pays off, will have taken the lead. We'll see here.
Yeah, this is very interesting here. A little divergence. Let's see what happens. It's just some rupees.
And Nephistoss takes down Blind there. Pretty clean fight. There's Blue Mail, so Thieves Town is a bust. We might see, it'll be interesting to see, maybe Thorneto is going to head over, keep going east over to Catfish here.
Yeah, I imagine Neff is going to be going up where Thorneto is, and we'll see where Thorneto goes. I gotta say though, if that flute is in Ice Rod Cave, both runners are gonna feel really bad when they find it.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. We're either not gonna, either the flute is in Ice Rod Cave, or we're not gonna see it.
Okay, and here's the last check of that Smith chain, which is some of the reason why going from Kakariko towards Swamp is maybe a little better. You pick up this purple chest, and then turn it into the hermit over here in the desert, or I guess we call him Gary.
Good old Gary.
Sometimes he's got something good. We'll see what he has today.
Here's the Catfish check from Thorneto. This was never going to get easier. What does the fish have for us today? Just a piece of heart. Nephistoss just pulling a big 20 there from the purple chest. Not interested. Didn't look like interested in a swamp play. And Nephistoss going back up the mountain. This looks like a Turtle Rock play from Nephistoss, going to Turtle Rock rather than Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I mean, they were right there. There are the same number of checks. There's 5 in Turtle Rock, and there's 6 in Swamp Palace. But there is one also in Mimic Cave, which is only accessible through Turtle Rock. So 6 in both areas. And
not to mention Turtle Rock being the green pendant. So that's a 7th check that you get for doing Turtle Rock here.
Yeah, that is true. So I guess it is a more valuable play. I'd have to imagine the time of both of these dungeons, the sync of the time is about the same.
Yeah, if you're gonna full clear Swamp, it's pretty close, I would say. Thorneto saving and quitting to Sanctuary. Looks like, unfortunately, is going to head into Thieves Town here. We know this is not going to pay off. Thorneto was going to have to, or maybe he's just doing the Swift chain, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't dip into at least the front of Thieves Town right here.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in, we already did a pedestal check, so it's definitely not defeating the 3 pendant bosses and turning that in. I mean, I've got Turtle Rock, Swamp Palace, and Ice Rod Cave as the only locations we haven't checked yet.
Yeah, and looks like Thorneto is deking me out, not going into Thieves Town. Maybe going to try to skip it entirely, headed over towards the Smiths. Unfortunately, we know this isn't the answer either, but at least it's faster.
Yeah, I mean, you know that you're racing against one opponent, and it is a best out of 3 race. So you might take some chances, you might not. You might just say, I'm assuming my opponent went into this dungeon, and if they did, I already lost because I was behind or whatever. You know, there's gambles and they're smart plays, and it's just a matter of what are you going to do in the seed you're playing. Both of them have been playing pretty well. I know they both took, a couple of deaths here and there that might make them feel behind by a minute or two, but nothing, like I'm 10 minutes behind or anything like that because I made just a terrible dip. Of course, now as we're going into looking for that one item, and it could be anywhere in like 50 or 60 places, you're starting to feel a little behind as you're just not finding those items.
I feel like if you don't think that you're behind, you're not doing it right. Like that's the way I look at it, at least.
Yeah, always play like you're behind. Always play to the best of your execution and ability, and you'll probably win some. But once again, those deaths didn't cost them a ton of time. It was maybe an overworld or something like that. It's not like dying on a boss and having to trek through 5 minutes of a dungeon again. Everybody dies every once in a while. It's fine. Thorneto finding out you have to sort of abandon that chest before you go into Cave 45, and make sure you pick it up before you go back into the Dark World.
Witty asking, and yeah, Nephistoss did do these checks up here. Thorneto now headed back over towards Dig Game. I had to put that off because he had the purple chest. Oh, still can't do it though.
Oh yeah, if you have a follower, even if you've abandoned it, the game still thinks you have a follower. It's sort of the same glitch, I think, that allows you to turn in that purple chest to Gary during a mirror transition or just right after one, but it also, unfortunately, prevents you from doing a dig game or even entering a dungeon.
Of course, kind of fortunately at this point for Thorneto, because I believe that we saw Dig Game and it was garbage, so... We'll see if Thorneto heads into Swamp here. So far, Turtle Rock coming up empty for Nephistoss. Headed back into the portal. Would not surprise me to see... we get a Bombos tablet check from Thorneto here, as well as Nephistoss makes his way into Mimic Cave.
Nice silver arrow shots to get those mimics.
Oh, and there's the flute at 1 hour and 16 minutes. Nephistoss. So first runner to enter Go mode. That is a brutal flute location. But Rando gonna Rando sometimes.
Yeah, it just wasn't in the way on a convenient spot, and both these runners spent a good 10 or 15 minutes looking for it. Nephistoss just happened to have run across it sooner.
Yeah, unfortunately, Thorneto is headed back to finish Dig Game here, which is unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, we'll see if that maybe draws them away from Swamp Palace, which would have been right there, and maybe they do end up heading into Turtle Rock. I think we want them to be doing that to minimize how much they're behind here. But we still have a dungeon to complete, and we still have to find the big key and Ganon's Tower. There's still a lot of game left to play, but we did hit Go mode at about 1:16:30, and we'll see how well Neph does on the rest of the seed.
I'm sure Thorneto was hoping to steal a win in this series, in which he is a significant underdog, at least by the seeding. But as Thorneto is heading into a worthless Swamp Palace, unfortunately, looking less and less likely that that's going to happen as Nephistoss is in Go mode.
Yeah, they're diving into Swamp here. I mean, for all that being said, we've cleared a lot of this world and done a lot of the checks, so to hit Go mode at about 1:16 is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, and don't get me wrong, this is an entirely defensible play by Thorneto, and this race would be very different if it just happened to be the right one over Turtle Rock. But unfortunately, you know, sometimes it comes down to those coin flips, and if you lose one, there isn't a ton that you can do. But that's why it's a series and not a one-off here. So not over by any means.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I don't think these two have scheduled game 2 yet, but we'll have to ask them about that in the post-game interview with both of them. So we do need the big key here in Misery Mire. It could be in one of the chests here, but we are locked from the rest of the dungeon where the boss is before we get that. Hopefully it's in one of these first 2 chests.
And there it is. Godmire.
Yeah, that's great. And they can pick up the small key on the next room here on the right, which they can use to unlock that door and go right back to where the big key locked door is. And we also have a pretty good loadout for the rest of this seed. We got blue mail in Thieves Town, which Neff is on. Thorneto's still on green, but Neff also has the Tempered Sword and Silver Arrows, which are going to be great to beat, let's see, the boss here, Vitreous, in this dungeon. They do a lot of damage, as well as Ganon at the very end of the game.
That was interesting. Rather than a boots tap in order to in order to set up Spooky, Nephistoss decided to shoot an arrow. That should work.
Yeah, I believe it does. I know the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod work too. I think you have to fire those to the right, maybe. Remembering to not flip the switches in that previous room because they hadn't done it earlier in the dungeon. Let's see if they're getting it here.
There we go. Took a couple shots there, but did get that.
Yeah, that middle room is the hardest one I found to hit that Fire Rod and sort of trick the game into moving the pegs down. The first 2 are a little easier to get. Sorry, the first one and the last one. And Thorneto doing another trick on the right side, diver down, sort of manipulating the way the water works. Neff firing some of those silver arrows right into the eyes.
And blinking, it's over. Vidi is down, and that's crystal number 7 for Nephistoss. Is there something that we usually do right about now? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think we need to have a little game where we predict where the big key is going to be in Ganon's Tower. There's 22 locations, 21 chests, and 1 torch. And put your numbers in chat where you think the key is going to be, which check. So we're going to have Neff entering the dungeon first, so we'll be following them for our 1 through 22 locations.
Freaking irritable penguin snipes me on 10 and then changes his mind. Unbelievable. I'm taking 10. I see a 14 from my co-commentator here.
I don't know where 14 is, but it felt right today. Where does 10 usually show up for you? Oh, we got Thorneto's gets the blue mail on their side, so they have similar loadout.
So 10 will land you, depending on the route, 10 will almost always land you in one of the rooms with 4 chests, for what it's worth. Usually either Stalfos room if you go full right, or Rando room if you go Hope room first.
Well, usually like finding it in one of those 2 rooms, so that's a good number to guess. Neff had that portal open, so able to use that to go to the Dark World. And we're going to have the 7 crystals be the key to entering Ganon's Tower here, and get those guesses in quickly because we are going to close it as soon as they start to open Ganon's Tower.
Or as soon as they go in, at least. Here, get your last second guesses in chat. And let's close it down here. Nephistoss headed over towards Hope Room. Number 1 is the map. Number 2, a heart container.
So subrunners, if they get a key in that room, like to go to the right, because there's a key door, one more room to the right. But they didn't get one, so their choice is sort of made up to go left right now. Thorneto has taken down Swamp Palace.
But yeah, that blue mail, the only helpful thing to come out of Swamp, and not what he's looking for sure.
Checks 3 through 4 coming up, or 3 through 6, excuse me.
4 through 7. 4, 5, go throughout the torch.
You are correct.
Number 6, 50 rupees. And number 7 is a small key.
Thanks for keeping me honest here.
Number 8, a heart container. We continue on.
And it looks like Thorneto is on their way towards Turtle Rock, so they are on their way to getting that flute.
Number 9. Number 9. Just a small key. So we head on into Rando room.
Number 10 is coming up soon.
Let's go 10. Good old 10. Number 10, the compass. Number 11, a small
we get
key.
a key, so
Number
now we're going to find
12
the big
is
key.
the
There
big
it is.
key. Number 12.
All right, we'll see who won the big key guessing game here.
Oh man, our tracker, Star, wins the big key guessing game with the guess of 12. 14 points on the leaderboard. You win some internet points, the most important thing in the world. Nephistoss has no time to adjust those mimics into a good spot. Just beasts them and goes into it. Is going to face tank some of that damage here. Maybe thinking that going to go check out that refill room here after the Ganon Ball Z room.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, you always need to kind of play like you're behind and sort of go through it as fast as you can. I do know that they did pick up some potions from the potion shop, so they do have some safeties, even if they don't stop in this room. And they're going right by it.
I like the confidence.
About halfway through the gauntlet now. Some of the harder rooms in the game. You've got conveyor belts, and in the next rooms we're going to get ice physics and things that shoot lasers at you. It's really tough.
Yeah, Nephistoss using a blue potion there. I was a little surprised to not see. If you got half magic in the gauntlet and some refills, just fire rod everything. That's what I usually do. But Nephistoss not doing that, at least until this last room here.
Yeah, they could also put on the cape or that blue cane of Samaria and get a little invincibility there, but got through it. That's really the important thing, is to get through the rooms and make it on. Trying for another quick kill. They did pretty good on the Desert Palace, but this one's a little tougher. They got a little fire shooter at you. I think that was a 3 cycle.
Yep, looked like it. Went for the spin strat there right off the top. As Neff heads into the most satisfying rooms in the game. Ah, so good.
So good. A little bit different than the gauntlet. And Thorneto's on their way, very close to getting the flute. They're going to be about, what was that, 15 minutes behind or something like that, getting that
Yeah,
flute.
just about.
This
Oh,
room-
no. Oof.
So they're going to go back to the
Nice.
beginning. They're still going
All
to
the way back to the beginning.
So you see Neff kind of taking their time in that previous room. If you do go up those stairs at the same time, the doors from the previous room close or the torches go out, which causes those doors to close. It will despawn the tower and all the enemies will be gone and you actually won't be able to move on and finish the game. So you have to start over at the bottom of Ganon's tower.
Yeah, because Moldorm 2 and more importantly, Agadim will not spawn.
Yeah, I've done it. Doesn't feel good. And so
Everybody
better
does it
take your
once.
time. I'll never do it again.
Yep. Nephistoss avoids the poke, gets those 2 spins in on Moldorm 2. Opens the final chest. It's a vanilla 20 rupees.
And on to the penultimate boss, Agatu. Gotta hit 6 effectable balls into the boss here, not the sort of ghostly images or shadows of him.
So that's 2 now. Oof. This should be a good pattern here. 3, 4, 5. Nice triple there for Neff.
Yeah, 1, 1, 0, 3, and here should be an easy one. There we go.
Thorneto is in Mimic Cave. About to get the bad news that this was your go mode here, the flute. As Neff heads into the big pig.
As we said, they've got tempered swords. They got to get 12 slashes here for phase 1 before they move on to phase 2.
Yeah, hard to get a 1 cycle phase 1 unless you get a trident spin, which Nephistoss does not go for. That's fine. It's tough to get.
Yeah, it's a little tough, but you know, getting sort of 2 placements for phase 1 and hopefully they can get a quick phase 2. It's another 12 slashes here with that tempered sword.
Yeah, Nephistoss, we saw right at the beginning of that phase, only gonna get a 2 cycle here, but smartly waited until Ganon brought his arms up there, which is when phase 2 begins. If he had waited for if he hadn't waited that, those first couple slashes would not have counted.
Yeah, and still tanking a lot of damage as opposed to using a cape or the cane for some invincibility. Hopefully they'll be a little careful here so they don't take a bad death.
Here we go into phase 4. Nephistoss will try for torch glitch here. Not super important with silvers and with half magic, but does make it a little bit simpler. There's 1 arrow.
Nice job there.
Is able to get that double. There's 2 and 3.
There it is.
There it is. Get your GGs in chat for Nephistoss, who is going to take game 1 of this series.
Yeah, that's a great time. 1:33 for having completed as much of the world as they did. That's really great.
Yep, that's an official time of 1 hour, 33 seconds, 33 minutes and 4 seconds for Nephistoss. And Thorneto has, seeing that message come through, decided not to finish out the seed. Makes sense. And he finishes at 1 hour, 33 minutes, 15 and a half seconds there. So GG to Nephistoss, and tough luck there for Thorneto. We shall see. Hopefully we can get them in for an interview.
Yeah, and I don't blame Thorneto. They will live on to see another day. This is a best of 3 series, so they're going to have to win 2 in a row. Because they did lose, they will get to choose the next setting for the next seed. So we will ask them what is to come in the future days here.
Yep, absolutely. It was a fun race. It was good. It was close for a good little while there. Unfortunately, it comes down to doing Swamp versus TR, right? And you make that decision in the wrong direction, you're gonna have a bad time, and it's happened to all of us. It'll happen to all of us again. So GG's to Nephistoss and tough break for Thorneto there.
Yeah, for sure. I do believe they are coming in for an interview. We're just waiting for them. So bear with us for a minute.
While we wait to see whether the runners will be joining us in the chat, let me tell you that tonight there is another match that's going to be restreamed on this very channel. That is game 1 of the Master Sword bracket finals. I will also be on the mic for that. I believe that will feature Jocelyn Sauce versus It's Otter. That is game 1 and open seed. That is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the No Mode Podcast Twitch channel.
That should be definitely a fun game. I'm going to tune in for that. I think that's a 2 seed versus a 5 seed.
Something like that, yeah.
Great action there.
And Nephistoss did just confirm that he will be joining us here in a moment. So bear with us, and then we will talk to our winner.
And of course, there's a lot more finals matches in other brackets coming up this week. If you want to join the Go Mode Podcast Discord and check out the schedule there, it's probably the easiest way to find out the information. There's 4 brackets and 4 best of 3 finals going on, as well as some bronze matches. I don't know if those are best of 3 or best of 1, but they will be happening all this week through Sunday.
All right, and we are joined by Nephistoss, our winner here in game 1. GG, Nephistoss.
Hi, thank you.
So, so this race ended up really coming down to, as you might expect, that the decision there, looking for the flute, trying to decide whether you're going to go to Swamp Palace or Turtle Rock. You chose correctly. Unfortunately, Thorneto chose poorly. What made you go up to TR rather than Swamp Palace there?
I think I routed correctly my seeds, so I did Thief Town for nothing on the way to do meats checks, and after Thief Town I had Swamp, the Graveyard Edge loop with Catfish or Turtle Rock, and Turtle Rock was the best for me because of Green Pendant. With Mimic Cave too. It was a 50-50 by the way, but Turtle Rock always the float. Swamp, I don't like Swamp because left side is really long to do, and I don't really like it. So that's why I did Turtle Rock.
Yeah, fair enough. And we're also joined by Thorneto. GG to you, Thorneto. Tough break there, losing that coin flip between those 2 dungeons. How'd you feel about this seed? You might be on push to talk, but we can't hear you right now. That's okay.
My bad. Hello.
No problem.
Yeah, so I took that early death, which kind of made me feel behind for the entire seed. So I was doing a lot of really weird gambles and avoiding places that I figured that they were going to go, just hoping for some lucky breaks to make up for the early mistakes. But yeah, finding that mirror really late didn't help.
Yeah, that ended up being the story of the early part of the seed was Nephistoss kind of heading up to Death Mountain when the only two checks available up there were the Old Man and Spectacle Rock, and that paying off pretty spectacularly there with that mirror early, which led to a sizable boots advantage as well. Thorneto, you got bailed out a little bit by how loaded Palace of Darkness was. You were able to go up and clear all of Death Mountain all at once.
Yeah.
Did you? Oh, you didn't have the Cane of Samaria at that point. I was gonna ask if you thought about heading into TR there, but y'all didn't have the cane there, unfortunately.
Yeah, the cane was to Bonk Rocks, I think. So.
Yeah. Fun cave, really fun cave. I just checked Bonk Rock after Ice Palace. I was happy.
Yeah, we saw those frustration slashes. I always appreciate seeing those. Know exactly how you feel about that situation. Picking up cane immediately after finishing Ice Palace is not fun.
Yeah, and it was literally the next check of Ice Palace. It cost me like maybe 2 minutes, because all item was on the right side of Ice Palace. So yeah, you could go mode Ice Palace really fast. Little bit unlucky, but I'm really proud of my wording, because Thief Town had nothing, but at least it had the blue mail on blind. So for me it was not a coin flip. It was a coin flip between Thief Town, Turtle Rock, and Swarm, because in this seed you can skip Thief Town for a long time too. And I don't know if Thorneto did Thief Town too.
I actually didn't. I skipped it.
Oh yeah, because it could be in Thief Town too.
Yeah, for sure. I figured that you were pretty much guaranteed gonna check Thieves Town, and because I felt behind, I felt like I should coin flip the other direction.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
pray.
that was one thing I wanted to ask you guys. I know, Neff, when you got Dark World access, a lot of runners tend to go right over to the Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. You hadn't done a map check yet, but instead you went up the mountain, and you didn't have the mirror, but you found it there. What was kind of your why were you led up the mountain?
I just did that because I never checked the Lumberjack Cave, and I wanted to check it and just take the 7 quit warp on the way, so I just did it before going to Dark World.
Yeah, that's kind of what we figured.
Yeah.
But that turned out to be a good play. Interestingly, both of you skipped Ice Rot Cave, so we never got to see that as well. So that was one outstanding thing. But outside of that little divergence, Thorneto did Eastern and Pod. You guys were kind of in there and swapping back and forth in there. So it was fun to have you both in sort of similar dungeons at the same time there. But yeah, I mean, you guys were sort of jockeying back and forth with the lead. It was really fun to watch and commentate. Of course, Neff had to make kind of 2 trips up the mountain. Did you kind of feel bad when you saw that fire rod on the floating island and knew you'd have to come back for that?
Oh, it was not. I mean, you need meat, so you can come back with Woodchuck Cave and Bunny Cave. So it's a lot of checks. So that not matter. But I think Mirror early was really good, because I could do Pod and Eastern Palace with Mirror. On the way, I can do Sasrada, Pod, and Eastern on the same cycle.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a bad bet.
Yeah, having the mirror early would have made a big difference for sure.
That was really the key. I think the key decision in the race was Nephistoss' choice to go up there, and that paying off, having that mirror just made Neph's routing a lot more efficient throughout, and gave him the boots much earlier as well. So just gonna build up a time advantage with those.
Makes sense.
So you guys have not scheduled game 2 yet, but probably coming up here before too long here. Thorneto, as the game 1 loser, you will be choosing the mode for game 2. Have you given any thought to that choice?
Yeah, I'll do open for sure. Open.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of the polar opposite of Ambrosia.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, you have 3 mode on 4 was escape, so open is the only mode without.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need.
All right. Well, Nephistoss takes game 1, but the Cinderella story is still alive for Thorneto in this best of 3 series. We'll need to win back-to-back games here. Nephistoss is 1 win away from winning the Tempered Sword bracket in this tournament. GG's again to both of you. And chat, make sure you give our runners a follow. Their Twitch links there. Make sure you give them a follow as well. That was a really fun race they just put on for you.
GG Neff.
GG, see ya. Thank you.
And thanks, commentary and restream and all that stuff.
Thank you too.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks again to Floyd, who was our restreamer here today, and to Star1468 for pressing the buttons behind the scene, tracking for us, the unsung hero of any randomizer broadcast. And thanks also to Fred, aka Derf. They're my co-commentator. Great working with you again.
Hey, thank you, and GG's the runners, and everybody have a great day.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Tylersalt. I'll be back with you tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Master Sword Finals Game 1, once again between Joss and Sauce and It's Otter, right here on twitch.tv/Go Mode Podcast. GG's to everybody involved, and have a good rest of your day. We'll see you later.